Welcome back, yogis. Today we have what I call an add-on sequence. It's where we start with one pose and then do a vinyasa flow or a plank or a down dog. Start back over, do the first pose again and add on a second pose. Do our vinyasa flow, our rest, start back over. Again, pose one, pose two, add on a third, and so on and so on. It has a lot of repetition to it, but it can be really helpful to learn some of those transitions from pose to pose that you see often in my classes. It can be a really good workout. There's a lot of time for rest, but also a lot of time to push yourself in vinyasa flows and planks. Today we'll be doing more planks than I normally do in them, just to kind of change it up a bit and take some of the repetition off of our shoulders. If you know me, you know I suffer from shoulder tendonitis and tend to avoid all chaturangas, all push-ups. And so this is a good way to still build up some strength in our arms and our core while getting the repetitions in that an add-on sequence usually requires us to do. So with that, we will need a block or something to bring the ground closer to you and a blanket for our warm-up to start off with. So find yourself on your yoga mat and sit on the edge of a folded blanket so you can prop your hips up and find an easier way to get into your easy seat. Shoulders stacked over your hips, hands resting in your lap or on your legs. And we can start to soften the face, soften the eyes, maybe even closing the eyelids. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders. Sit up tall. Take a moment here to push any thoughts out of your head that aren't related to yoga. The time on your mat is just for you, and if you're busy thinking about your to-do list or the kids or work, then you're not getting the most benefit out of it. So set all that stuff aside. It'll be there waiting for you when class is over, I promise. And for now, we can just focus on what's happening on your yoga mat, like it's a little isolated island just for you. Sit up tall, and we will start off with our 3 rounds of cleansing breath. I do this in almost every class. We inhale through the nose and out through the mouth to help clear out stress, anything lingering in the nervous system, and prepare for yoga. So first round, let's all take a big inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Second one, inhale. And exhale, let it out. And final breath in. Exhale all the way out. And from here, you can return to a normal yoga breath. We'll start off with a little warm up here with a neck stretch. So let's dip your right ear down to your right shoulder, tipping the head over. And you can stay here just with the neck, or you can make it more intense by reaching the opposite hand out, deepening the stretch down into the shoulder. Inhale, return to center. And exhale, let's dip the left ear to left shoulder. Again, option to hold the head here or reach the arm out, deepening the stretch. Inhale, return the head to center. Let's roll the shoulders up to the ears and release them down the back a few times. Relax the shoulders down. Hands on knees, lean forward, then around and back, doing torso circles here. Sit bones stay connected to the mat or your blanket. We're just moving enough to warm up the lower back and core and hips. And then go the opposite direction. And return to your easy seat. Reaching both hands out to either side. Flip your palms up. We'll do some sun breaths here. So inhale, lift the arms up overhead, tilt the head back, gaze up. Exhale, float the hands down, palms down. Second one, inhale, really expand the ribs in all directions as you reach up overhead. Exhale, float the hands down. One more, inhale and reach up. And this time we'll do a twist to the right. So left hand crosses over to the opposite knee. Your right hand goes behind your back on the floor to help you sit up tall, find length through the spine, and then begin to twist. It's easy to forget to breathe when we twist because there is some compression through the abdomen, the chest. So remember to breathe here. We never hold our breath. And then keep that left hand anchored on your knee. We'll unwind through the torso, lift the right hand up and lean away from the knee. Think of it as an anchor here to help this front shoulder stretch as your right lats stretch down the side of the body. Inhale, upright, both arms lift up, and we'll do the other side. So exhale, right hand crosses over, left hand behind the back, sit up tall and twist. Keep this hand anchored on the knee. We'll unwind, face forward, lift the left hand and lean away. Inhale, both arms up. Final big reach up towards the sky. And exhale, have the hands come down to the floor in front of you. Walk them forward, round through the back like a child's pose here. Relax the head down towards the floor. And inhale, let's walk the hands towards the body. Sit upright into your easy seat. From here, if you were using a blanket, you can set it aside. We really won't need it for the rest of class until the end, so get it out of your way. And then we'll roll on over onto hands and knees for tabletop pose. All right, finding yourself in tabletop, we want both hands spread out wide, fingertips wide, middle fingers point forward. Evenly distribute the weight throughout the entire palm of the hand and gently push your fingertips into the mat. We'll start off with some gentle circles of the upper body, rolling over the wrists, getting used to bearing weight on the hands. And then go the opposite direction. And return to center. Next, we'll lift up the right knee, circle this leg around a few times in each direction, just warming up the hip socket. And knee comes down, other side, left knee lifts and circles around. Opposite direction. Return to tabletop. Knees are underneath your hips, parallel in the legs. Hands are shoulder width apart. We'll do some cats and cows next. So starting with cow pose, let's tip the tailbone up to the sky. Arch the back, gaze forward. Inhale here. And then reverse it all for cat. So tuck the tailbone under, round through the back, chin to chest. Exhale the whole way. Inhale, return to cow pose. Exhale into cat. Inhale the cow. This time let's look over the right shoulder for a little twist through the spine. Inhale back to cow. Exhale, look over the left shoulder, twisting back. Inhale to cow and exhale into cat. And then lower the hips down to the heels. For child's pose, you can widen out the knees as much as you'd like. Maybe folding the arms in, lowering head and chest to the mat. Inhale, let's reach the hands out in front again if they're not already there. Lift back up, bring the knees to parallel in our tabletops. We'll do some spinal balance next to warm up 3 points that we'll use a lot today. So our shoulders, our core, and our glutes. So for the first spinal balance, let's step your right foot back and then lift it up about body height, hip height. It doesn't need to be way up here. We can just keep it level with the ground. Once you're there, opposite hand, left hand reaches forward, thumb up. And 3 things to think of. We're not sinking in this front shoulder. We're active, pushing away from the floor. Our core is not loose. Our core is active so that the lower back is not curved too much. And then we're lifting this foot with the glutes, not the lower back. Let's lower the hand and knee down. We'll try the other side. Left foot steps back. Lift it up. Right hand forward. Active in those 3 points, the shoulder, the stomach, the glutes. And float the hand and knee down. We'll do one more on each side. So right foot back, left hand forward. And you have the option just to hold here, building strength, or you can work on some coordination, bringing the hand out to the side and the foot out to the side, trying to keep the torso steady, trying to keep everything lifted, and then bring them back in line and lower down. Other side, last one, left foot back, right arm forward. You can hang here or drift the hand and foot out to either side, keeping them lifted. Return to center, hand and knee come down. We'll take one more child's pose. Knees wide, feet together, hips down. In our child's pose, we can have the hands out in front for a deep shoulder stretch. For some of us, this might be too much on the shoulders. Maybe your shoulders are sore or tired. If that's the case, you can reach the hands back towards the feet, round the shoulders forward, and fully relax them. So wherever you're at in your child's pose, stay there for a few breaths. Give yourself a little mental and body scan. So mental scan meaning where have your thoughts been for the past few minutes in class so far? If you have any of those distractions that I mentioned when we started, throw them out, set them aside. They're not helping you right now. They're just distracting you. And then do a mental and physical scan, seeing how you feel throughout the body. If there's anything bothering you today that maybe you need to be careful with, any soreness, any old injuries, if there's anything that you should hold back from, like maybe today's not a good day for chaturangas for you and you just take a child's pose instead. So from there, hands can reach out in front and we'll lift up to tabletop. Let's step both feet back, finding a full plank. In yoga, our hips can be shoulder height. We don't need to have this straight line from toes to shoulders. Hips can be shoulder height. That's what I would prefer today. Tucking in the core, engaging the glutes. And then we'll bend our knees, lift the hips, and come into downward facing dog. Head hangs between the arms. Bend your knees, shift your weight side to side, walk your dog here, warming up the lower body, rolling out ankles, knees, twisting the hips side to side, doing whatever feels good. And when you're ready, we'll gaze up at our hands, bend the knees a bit, walk your feet towards your hands, And rise up to mountain pose, standing up. All right, now that we are in our mountain pose, standing with the feet hips width apart, we'll do a few sun salutations to get the blood flowing and then jump into our add-on sequence. Rooting down into your feet, notice your heels, the balls of the feet, and the toes all gripping into the mat. Then work your way up the body from your foundation. Knees can be soft, they don't have to be 100% locked out. Up to the hips, they're nice and neutral, core slightly engaged. In the shoulders, they're away from the ears but pulled back. Hands can be at your sides or your chest. And the head is lifted up as if someone is pulling on a string at the crown of the head. And from here, we'll inhale, lift your arms up overhead in a big sun breath. Exhale, flip the palms out, float down, hinging at the hips. And we all have a yoga block, a book, a box, something to put your hands on to bring the ground a little closer. And you can bend the knees as much as you need to in our first forward fold here, relaxing the head and neck down. You should be able to nod your head yes and shake your head no, letting the head hang loosely in your forward fold. Inhale, lift up to flatten out the back. Legs and arms straighten, hands can be on a block or on the legs. Exhale, fold all the way down. We'll step both feet back, come into a plank, and then take a vinyasa flow. So that means lowering down through a chaturanga or push-up. I like to skip those personally for my shoulders. And once you're down, you can come into a cobra, any kind of back bend, sphinx pose, whatever feels good. And maybe throw in a child's pose, rounding out the back, reversing the extension from your sphinx or cobra. And inhale, lift back up, reversing it all. Find your plank. Lift the hips, bend the knees, come to downward facing dog. And we'll bend the knees a little deeper, gaze at your hands, walk the feet up, return to the top of the mat, rise up to mountain pose. Second sun salutation. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold forward, head and neck relax. Inhale, lift up halfway, flatten out. Exhale, hands down. Step back to a plank. Take a vinyasa flow. You could be on your knees for your chaturanga. You could skip everything if you want. Maybe take a child's pose. Whatever options you choose, they are individual for you, for today, for this point in our class. So change it up. Do whatever feels good. When you're ready, we'll return to downward facing dog. This time, to make our way to mountain, instead of walking both feet up, we'll try a step up. So lift the right foot to three-legged dog. Bend that knee, round through the back, tuck the knee to chest, shift forward and step the foot near the hands. If it doesn't get far enough, you can drag it up. But we'll have a lot of practice on this today. We'll do it over and over. Second foot steps up, return to mountain, rise up. That step up transition takes a lot of practice. There's a lot involved. It's okay if you don't get it right away. Our final sun salutation. Find your mountain again. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step your feet back. Take a vinyasa flow. Another option, if you're like me and don't want to do a chaturanga, you could come down to tabletop and do a cat and cow. Building shoulder strength, working through the spine, and maybe throwing in a child's pose. Once you're done with your vinyasa flow, we return to downward facing dog. And this time we will step up with the left leg. So inhale, lift the left foot for three-legged dog. Bend the knee, draw it to the chest. Shift into a plank, step the foot down, step the other foot up. Inhale, rise up to mountain. All right, now we are ready to start our add-on sequence. Start in mountain at the top of the mat, root down through the feet. Inhale, sweep the arms up overhead, bring your palms together. Exhale, sit back into chair, hands at the heart. Take a breath or two here. Inhale to prepare. And exhale, fold forward. Option to have that block under the hands. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Step the right foot back and find a lunge. I prefer to have a block under my hand for the lunge. It brings the ground a little closer. I have long legs, so the ground feels pretty far away for me. It is optional, and all yoga blocks have 3 different sides, so you can make it whatever height you want it to be. Our lunge is our first pose in our add-on sequence, so we'll hold it for a little longer this time around. Front knee is over the ankle. You can widen your stance out a bit to feel more rooted and grounded. And our back hips are level. We don't have one hip tilted out to the side, so everything is in line. And from here, you can set your block aside, hands to the mat, step the front foot back, find a plank. Hips about shoulder height, core engaged, and breathe. We'll take this for about 10 seconds. And inhale, lift the core, lift the hips. Find downward facing dog. Switching to the other side now, we'll use our step up to help us get there. Inhale, lift the right foot up. Exhale, bend the knee, draw it in, step it forward. If you don't get far enough, grab your ankle, pull it where you want it to be. So the right foot is forward now. We can find our lunge on this side. Block or no block, it's up to you. Hands stay down on the mat. Our hips, our sacrum, our lower back is even. We'll take a few breaths here. Now in a lunge, the back heel is lifted, so make sure your back heel is up. Gaze is down or slightly in front of your mat. One more breath. And if you're using a block, set it aside. Hands return to the mat. Step back to your plank. Take your vinyasa flow. Add in a rest if you want to rest. Child's pose is great. Downward dog is also a rest pose if you want to hang out there. Use this as a time to recover from the little bit of stress we just put ourselves through. And the more we do this, we'll build resilience, going from a state of stress to a state of rest and back. So if you're down, let's make our way to downward facing dog. Hips lifted, head relaxed. Lift the left foot up. We'll bend the knee, step the left foot towards the hands, step the other foot up, and rise to mountain, starting from the beginning here. All right, so that was our first step of our ladder or add-on sequence. We do it all over again and add on a new pose. Starting in mountain, inhale, lift the arms up, palms together, exhale into chair. Take a breath in to prepare. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands down, step the right foot back, find your lunge again. Wider stance if you want, block if you want. Then once you're stable in your foundation, think of activating your inner thighs, and we'll find a twist here. So left hand twists up towards the ceiling for revolved lunge. We're creating a straight line from the top hand down to the bottom. Our front knee is still over that ankle, so widen your stance if you need to. If you notice that leg bowing out to the side, squeeze your inner thighs to square up the hips. One more breath. Exhale, left hand floats down, props out of the way, step the front foot back, find a plank here, 10 seconds. Inhale, lift the hips, downward facing dog. We'll lift up the right foot, do our step up, bending the knee, step the right foot towards the hands. Find a lunge on this side. Once you're stable, inhale, twist the right arm up overhead for revolved lunge. Keeping that knee over ankle, you can look down and check it. Keep your shoulder stacked over the bottom wrist. Squeeze your core, squeeze your inner thighs. 2 more breaths here. Exhale. Top hand floats down, props out of the way, hands to your mat, step the front foot back, and take a vinyasa flow. Maybe that means lowering to your knees, doing a cat and cow, or you're doing a chaturanga push-up down into a cobra, or maybe taking a full child's pose. Once you're done with your version of a vinyasa flow, we'll return to downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the left foot, bend that knee. Exhale as you step the foot forward, step up the other foot, return to mountain and reset. In our mountain pose, we're ready to start over from the top, and we'll add in a new pose at the end of each side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to chair pose. You should have an idea of where we're going now since we're starting to see the repetition. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands down, right foot back. Find your lunge. And inhale, twist the left arm up into revolved lunge. Now our next pose is a difficult transition. You may not get it the first few times. That's okay, do your best. Push your weight into your front foot. Keep your lunge in the lower body. Keep your twist. Lift the torso upright. Shoulders are over the hips. Front knee is still bent. We're in a upright revolved lunge. Left hand is back, right hand is forward. Hold here, 2 more breaths. And slowly reverse it. Bring your right hand down, keep your twist. And then exhale, top hand floats down as well. Hands to the mat. Step the front foot back, find a plank. 10 seconds here. Inhale, lift the hips for downward dog. Lift up that right leg. Exhale as you bend the knee, shift, step forward. Find your lunge on this side. Get set up. There's no rush, take your time. Inhale, twist the right hand up, revolved lunge. Push your weight into that front foot, engage the thighs, lift the torso, keeping the twist. Shoulders over hips, upright, revolved lunge. Right hand is back, left hand is forward. 2 more breaths here. This takes a lot of balance, a lot of coordination. 1 more breath. Exhale, bring that left hand down to the floor. Keep your twist. And unwind, right hand down, both hands to the mat. Step your foot back. Take a vinyasa flow. Any version you want. Add in a rest if needed. There's no shame in child's pose. Taking care of your body, listening when it's had enough is part of yoga. When you're ready, we'll return to downward dog. Inhale, lift the left foot up. Exhale, step the foot towards the hands. Step the other foot up. Rise up, reset in mountain. All right, by now you should be seeing the pattern here and what I mean by adding on. Next round, inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, find chair pose, hands at the heart. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat. Right foot back, find your lunge. Inhale, let's reach the left arm up. Exhale, push into the front foot, lift the torso upright, revolved lunge. From here, we'll add on our new pose. So your back hand, left hand floats down, floats forward, arms lift up, and the back heel can step up a bit and relax down into a warrior 1 stance. So front knee is bent over ankle, back foot is on the mat, angled out, about 45 degrees. Arms could be lifted overhead, or you can just keep your hands at your heart. Give your shoulders a little bit of a rest. We'll take 5 breaths in our warrior 1 since it's our new pose on this round of our add-on sequence. Final breath. We'll inhale, reach your arms up if they're not already there. Exhale, hands float down to the mat. Step your front foot back. Find a plank. 10 seconds here. Inhale, lift the hips up. Find downward facing dog. So in your downward facing dog, inhale, lift the right foot up. Exhale as you bend the knee, step that foot forward. We'll find our lunge on this side. Left hand stays down. Inhale, rotate that right hand up, revolved lunge. Exhale, push yourself upright, revolved lunge. And back hand floats down and forward, both hands up. The back foot comes to the mat, angled out, heel down for warrior 1. You can have your arms lifted or relax them at the heart. Take a few breaths here. Center yourself. Slow your heart rate down with your breath. And final breath. We'll inhale, lift the arms up if they're not already there. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the mat. Step the front foot back and take a vinyasa flow, whatever that looks like for you, adding in a rest as needed. Return to downward facing dog in your own time. And once there, inhale, lift the left foot. Exhale, step the left foot forward. Step the other foot up. Rise up to mountain pose. All right, we have one more pose today in our add-on sequence. So stand tall in mountain. We'll start again from the top. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, come to chair pose, hands at heart. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands down, right foot back. Find your lunge. Inhale, left hand reaches up for revolved lunge. Exhale, push into your upright revolved lunge. Inhale, arm comes down and forward, back foot rests for warrior one. And let's all bring our hands to our heart, palms together. Our next pose is warrior three. We'll slowly lean forward from the chest. And then bend the front knee, shift your weight over the front leg. Carefully lift the back leg up till it's horizontal with the floor, or as best as we can do. If you want to use a block for stability, you can reach down for a block. If you want to challenge yourself, your hands can come out like an airplane or back or forwards, whatever feels good. Now to come out of this pose, let's carefully rise up to standing, letting that foot slide above the floor ever so gently. And then bring that knee up, hip height. Balance here on one leg. It's a very hard transition. It's okay if you fell out of it, come back in it. Meet me where I'm at. And relax the foot down. Find your mountain. We'll do that on the other side, and then we are ready for our cool down. Inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale into chair pose, hands at the heart. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands down. This time we'll step the left foot back. Find your lunge. Left hand is down. Inhale, twist the right arm up for revolved lunge. Exhale, push into your front foot. Rise up to upright revolved lunge. And inhale, hands turn forward, back foot relaxes for warrior one. Exhale, let's bring our hands together at the heart. Prepare ourselves for warrior three on the side. So lean forward from the hips and chest. Bend the front knee, shift forward. Slowly lift the back foot until it's parallel with the floor, or as good as we can get. It doesn't need to be any higher. And you have the option to use your block under the hands or reach the hands out. Take a breath or two here in warrior three. And transition to mountain. Think of a seesaw, a pendulum. Keep the body straight. Hover that left foot off the floor. Bend the knee, lift the knee up. Balance on one foot. And return to mountain. Both feet come down. Shake out your ankles, shake out your legs, whatever you need to. Congratulations. We're done with the hard part. We are ready for our cool down. In your mountain pose, final one here, we'll reach the arms up overhead, but this time interlace your fingers, clasping the hands together. Flip the palms out so the palms face the ceiling. Exhale and lean or steeple to the right. Inhale up to center, exhale, steeple to the left. Inhale up, release the hands, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, hands down, step both feet back. We'll come to downward facing dog. And widen out your feet, bring them to the edges of the mat. Turn your toes inward like a pigeon-toed stance, heels angled out. Push through the shoulders a little bit more to shift your weight back. You'll find a deeper stretch here in some spots you normally don't feel, maybe in the calves, maybe in the hips. Breathe. And return to your normal downward dog. Pedal the feet out. We'll head into pigeon for our cool down. So inhale, lift the right foot. Exhale, bend that knee, draw it to the right wrist, and lower the shin to the mat. Lower the back leg to the mat. Top of the foot relaxes. Everyone's pigeon is a little different, so as long as your front knee doesn't hurt, you should be fine. This leg can be tucked in as much as it needs to. And there's two ways here for us to do pigeon today. You could keep your hands on the mat, keep your chest lifted, or you could fold forward into forearms, maybe onto a block or letting your forehead rest on a block. And because this is the beginning of our cool down, we'll stay here a little longer. Focus on your breath. Slowing down your breath rate will slow down your heart rate and help you recover from the stress we just put our bodies through. And you may notice that with each exhale, as you recover, your muscles relax a little bit more. You get a little deeper in your pigeon. One more breath. And then lift up onto your hands on the mat here. We'll do a little gentle twist, just looking over that right shoulder, twisting through the spine. You might feel your hips twist as well. And unwind, back toes tuck, back knee lifts. Lift up those hips, return to downward facing dog and pedal your feet out. Then prepare for the other side. Inhale, lift the left foot. Exhale, bend the knee, draw it towards your wrist, and carefully lower the legs onto the mat. Front shin can be diagonal, whatever is most comfortable on that knee. And you could stay upright in the chest, or you could fold forward to whatever level feels good for you. Relax and settle into pigeon on this side. One thing to note is that our bodies are usually not symmetrical. One side might be tighter than the other, might have more range of motion than the other. So if your pigeon is different on this side, don't beat yourself up about it. That's pretty common. Just make a note of it and settle in. With each exhale, try to soften the muscles and sink a little deeper into your version of pigeon. Last breath here. We'll inhale Bring your hands to the mat, lift your chest, and look over your left shoulder this time, twisting through the spine. And then unwind. We'll just roll onto that left hip so that we can bring this back foot all the way around towards the front. And prepare for rolling down to corpse pose. So bring your heels to the front edge of your mat. Sit up tall in staff pose or like an L. And if this is a little challenging, place your hands on the ground to guide yourself. If you want more of a challenge, you could hold a block between your hands. So either option, we're making our way all the way down flat to our back, but you go slow, use your core, round through the back, tuck everything in and stay controlled the whole way down. Once you're down on the mat, reach the arms overhead, get a good full body stretch. And then pull both knees into the chest. Hug them in and roll them around. A few circles in each direction. We'll hug the right knee in, let the left leg lengthen down to the floor. And find a reclined twist here. So right knee crosses the body, the hips roll with it and stack. Right hand reaches out behind you. Get a deep stretch here through the chest and shoulder. Return to center on your back. Pull the left knee in and let the right leg lengthen down to the floor. Cross over the body with the left knee, find a twist, and reach behind you with the left hand, bringing that twist up into the shoulder and upper back. Inhale, return to center. Both feet flat on the mat, knees bent, back, head, shoulders all relaxed on the floor. We did a lot of flexion in the hips today, so part of our cool down, we'll do some extension, some bridge pose. I prefer bridge pose to focus on the glutes and hamstrings instead of the back muscles. So pay attention to my cues. There's no right or wrong way. There's just various ways with various goals. It may be a little different than what you're used to. We'll start off to prepare by inhaling and arching the lower back just a little bit. And then exhale, flatten the lower back to the mat. Curl your tailbone up off the mat. Lift the hips. They don't have to be high, but I want you to squeeze your glutes, squeeze your hamstrings. Drive your heels into the floor. Your back and neck should all be pretty relaxed. Hands are relaxed. And lower the hips down. Take a breath. We'll do 2 more of these. If you want them to be a little more difficult, you can slide your heels further away from the body. This will engage more leg muscles. Second one, inhale to prepare. Exhale, flatten the lower back, curl the tailbone away from the floor, lift those hips, drive the heels into the floor, maybe lifting the toes off the floor. And if you want to check what muscles are being active, you could poke yourself in the hamstrings, the glutes, the back, see what you're using and what you're not. And release the hips down, relax. Final bridge here. If you want even more of a challenge, heels could be further away. Just the heels, toes are lifted. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, flatten the lower back, lift the hips, lift the glutes, lift. And then maybe feel your hip bones. Make sure your pelvis is even. We don't want to twist or list to either side. Knees are still parallel. And release the hips to the floor. Pull the knees into the chest, hug them in, roll them around. For our final pose, we'll take a waterfall. So from here, you can hold onto the backs of the thighs and lengthen the feet up towards the ceiling. The legs don't have to be straight. If that's a little too much for your flexibility, you could be here. This is fine as well. The goal of waterfall is to have an inversion, drawing the blood back to the core, back to the heart, any excess fluid, anything in our extremities. And you can roll out the ankles and toes, maybe pedal the feet a little. To come out of this, we'll bring the knees to the chest, feet return to the mat. And now we're ready to find our version of corpse pose. So whatever is most comfortable and least distracting. Traditional corpse pose is just laying flat on your back, but this is pretty uncomfortable for some of us. So you could roll to your side. You could grab a pillow to have under your head. I prefer to roll a blanket up and put that under my knees for a little support on my lower back. Find what works for you. Come into your version of Shavasana or corpse pose. And we did a lot of hard work today. Let's take one final big deep inhale through the nose. And sigh it out through the mouth. Let go of all the stress. And from here, you can fully relax your body. Noticing if there's any tension in the eyes, the jaw. Maybe scrunch those muscles up for a moment and release. Moving down the body, if there's any tension in the shoulders, the hands, the arms, squeeze those muscles. Exhale and release. Down into the hips and legs, any uncomfortable tension. Inhale and squeeze. Exhale, release. And from here, just enjoy a few minutes for yourself where there's nothing you need to do, nothing you need to think about. Let your mind drift off. When you're ready to end class, you can begin to draw your awareness back into the present and find some movements through the wrists and ankles, the fingers and toes. You're welcome to roll to your side or remain on your back as you find some larger movements, reaching the arms around for a stretch, bending the knees, rocking side to side. And in your own time, push yourself away from the floor and come to an easy seat. Sitting upright, let's bring our palms together. I'd like to thank you for joining me today. I'll see you next time.